Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and yesterday you might have seen my pre-release primer talking about how to build a pre-release deck a little bit, but today I'm actually going to build a pre-release deck with the cards I opened up and show you how to do it. Now, as a recap of what's in a pre-release pack, just to kind of go over it, we've got the spin down D20, which is nice and cool. Keep track of your life total on this guy. Rotate it down. We've got this little divider, which is kind of nice. We have this little insert, which talks about some tips for building a sealed deck on one side. So that's always nice if you open this on pre-release and you're not sure exactly what to do. And on the back side has all these gingerbread people knowing your role. That's kind of fun. It's got an Arena code card. Let's get some packs on Arena. It also has this pre-release promo pack, which is kind of cool. It's totally recyclable. I did open this yesterday in my video. You've seen it already. But if you weren't there, I got a foil the Goose Mother, which is totally awesome. Heck of a first Eldraine card to open up. That's really nice. But then you've got these 6 packs. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to leave the camera rolling. I'm going to craft these 6 packs and use these plus the Goose Mother if I want to build a sealed deck. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So I'm going to move this all away. And this is kind of just, Gavin, if you've watched these before, it's kind of like Gavin just unedited talking about how I build a sealed deck. Now, the first thing you should know is, and this always makes some people be like, what the heck is Gavin doing? Well, the first is how can I open up a pack. But I always open all my packs first. And the reason I do this, I know a lot of people enjoy looking through and finding the coolest cards or what have you. But the reason I do it this way is if you're at your local game store, it's a lot easier to dispose of all the trash if all the packs are opened up first. So it's just good etiquette. I can always look through them later. I stack them on top of each other and we'll do some good looking through them and finding the best stuff. Yeah, you just kind of want to do that just to be kind to the store owner and everyone around you. So after I open up all the cards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and sort them by color. And as I look through, I'll often notice things that particularly stand out at me, like, oh my gosh, that's a cool rare that I opened up, or hey, I'm kind of seeing this pattern form. But you just kind of want to make sure that they're all sorted by color, so you can easily look through them and kind of figure out what the relative strengths are. So here we go. I got them all broken out here. And now it's time to sort by color. Now, I've gotten feedback about this in the past, but the other way I sort, and you don't have to do it this way, everyone does it differently, is I do it sorting by color, by going through all the cards, and then coming back for all the other colors. I believe this is faster. I'm not going to say it's faster for everybody. I just think it's faster for me. I've been doing it for so long that this is kind of how I do it. People are always like, ooh, a sneak attack. I'm not going to complain about that. I wonder if I get out anything fun to combo with that. So here's all of our black cards. Putting those in one pile. Yeah, I just did whatever one's on top. So we start with black. It's not really how color order works, but start with black here. Go into green next. And now in my video yesterday, I talked about all 10 archetypes, and I'll probably cover some of those again here today. There's a lot of pretty fun ones going around. You've got some classics, blue-green ramp and blue-red spells, but all the auras and enchantments running around let you do some pretty cool stuff. Both Celebration is a blast. There's a red-white Celebration deck, as well as some of the aura stuff. I love the green-white auras deck. So just to kind of recap while I go through this, white-blue is like a tempo-y flyers deck that taps your opponent's creatures. Blue-black is like a fairies deck, but it's kind of like a control-y fairies deck. Black-red is about rats. It's got some sacrifice stuff in there, but a lot to do about rats. That should go over there. Red-green is power 4 or greater. This is a fun challenge. Can I remember all the archetypes while I'm also trying to sort Magic cards at the same time? Green-white is auras, which is pretty fun. White-black is about bargaining, and often you bargain away your auras. Black-green is about food, so that's a pretty fun one. It's not just a graveyard deck. Green-blue is ramp, although it does have a small 5 power or 5 mana to cast or greater theme. Blue-red is spells, shocker there, and red-white is celebration, which I actually see right here on Ash. Okay, so I sorted them all out. Now I can put them in Wooburg order to stop my heart from continuing to skip beats. So white, blue, black, red, and green. I'll put these guys up here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through all of them and just see what I notice. See what I notice right away. So this card's pretty nice. It lets you kind of give your opponent treasure every turn to draw a card. So 3 mana, 2/3 that you can keep giving away your treasure to draw cards. Rest in Peace is cool, but probably not gonna get played in my main deck. It's more of a constructed card. One thing I'm gonna do is one thing I always do when I'm going through is if I see a card that I'm just almost never gonna play, I just put it off to the side. I put it face down, kind of off to the side, so I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's not there in my stack. That's an okay reanimation card. This card's kind of nice if you have any way to make a bunch of rolls, because you can make the roll fall off and then have a 3/3 lifelink with upside. This card's fine. Intangible Virtue could be kind of cool if you have a bunch of tokens. That card's fine. Good removal spell. So I'm really looking for here like removal spells, evasion, and of course bombs. That kind of stuff is nice. Ooh, this card is really nice if you have enough auras for it. Grasp of Fate. That's just a cool 3 mana Oblivion Ring, basically. 3 mana Banishing Light. A tapper. This card's not that great, but we can play it sometimes. Okay, my white looks fine. I have a couple removal spells, decent creature curve. Yeah, I could end up in white. I'm not feeling super strong about it. My blue looks pretty light. I've got the Sleep Cursed Fairy, which there's a lot of debate around how strong it is, but I think it's pretty reasonable. It plays as like an air elemental, but also you play it on turn 1. It just suspends and do a 3/3 flyer, so that's nice. Spellsetter's a counterspell. This copies your adventures, which is pretty sick. Here's that mana value 5 or greater theme. Counterspell. Okay, my blue is not looking that hot. I'll be real with you. Probably not going to end up in blue, or I could maybe splash it if I wanted to. There's this Goose Mother hiding out over here. We'll get over there in a second, but I don't love the blue. And is there anything here I just want to discount right off the bat? I would be surprised if I played this Ice Out, especially with a spell starter already in my pool, but it could happen. Yeah, not the best. Let's look at red. All right, so we've got. This is a fun fact, by the way. We're starting to do more active reasons at uncommon, because at common they either end up as like bananas with sack effects or unplayable. So we like making the uncommon upgraded version more, so you can't always consistently have the black-red sack deck. Just a fun little fact for you there with stuff we're doing in design. This card's great for red-white. Sneak attack is cool if we have big stuff to sneak in, although who knows if we're actually going to. Here's a great removal spell. This card is an excellent removal spell, so that's nice to have here. Little equipment that snaps on. Treasure Maker. This is okay. You got the Power 4 greater guy right here with the Picnic Ruiner. Small dudes. I really like another removal spell here. It's really missing that. Okay, well there we go. It's 3 mana deal 2, so plus pumps up for your instant sorceries and adventures, so that's okay. I do really like seeing this here, knowing I have Ash over in the stack. I'll get to that later, but that could be potentially a direction to go. Let's look at what we got for black. This card is pretty solid. You really want to be able to play white if you can, ideally, so you can make stuff for it. But yeah, if you can do Have for Dinner, this card's pretty solid, coming down and hitting for a bunch, starting on turn 5. Turn 4, you play it. Turn 5, you start attacking with it. We got some Make a Rat when it comes in. That's nice. 5 mana removal spell. Yeah, okay, it's a little clunky, but still, you often play 5 mana removal spells and sealed if you got them. Small little trick. This card's pretty decent. Ooh, we got 2 Devouring Sugar Maws. That's pretty hilarious. I think this card is pretty nice if you can play black-white. But you really got to be black-white to make it work, and I don't know if we're going to want. Stab Wound is a total heater for limited, though. If you ever played against this card, it's Savage. You just someone casts it on you, and then you just like they stop attacking. You just take 2 damage every turn. It's a great way to finish off the game. Spellskern Coven is totally decent even without the blue. With the blue, it's even better. Got the Sweet Tooth Witch, makes it food. Got some food makers. Maybe black green would be what we do. A little flyer. This card's good with rats. I could see black red, gives to what we saw right now too. This card's excellent. Candy Grapple. Fantastic removal spell, one of the better commons set. 2 Stab Wounds. Okay, I'm feeling really good about black now. If you've ever played against Stab Wound, you know why this is so exciting. This card is absolutely brutal. Even if folks are main decking enchantment removal sometimes in this set, like that card is awesome. So really like our black. Let's see how our green looks. I love Up the Beanstalk because it just cantrips, and we'll probably pick up at least 1 card later in the game. Especially with Adventure, you kind of always have something expensive lying over there and wait. So that's pretty nice. Some cheap creatures. I love this card. This card is really strong because whenever you make a roll, you get to draw a card. So keep in mind, this card is huge. So probably not playing this 8 mana bargain spell. Keep with nature. Some auras that come back. It's like giant spider variant. This one you can bargain down for cheaper. This is pretty good in the food deck because you can sack a food to be able to play this on turn 5. So 5 mana, 6/6 trample, gain 3. Pretty solid. Here is a fight spell, basically, or a bite spell, rather. That's nice. Ooh, okay, this is really good. If you play green-black, like, I might play this even without the green, but this is really nice to be able to do this. That's solid. Okay, so those are all pretty good. Let's take a look at just what else we have really fast. In artifacts, we got this Candy Trail, which is Soul Guide Lantern, pretty medium. You can play this the Scarecrow Guide if you really need to be able to make mana, to fix your colors, rather. The Bowl of Porridge is decent as well, right? You can deal some damage to a creature, which is the most awesome mode, and get some other bonuses out of it too. And then in over here, we've got Ash, which is awesome if you're going red-white. It's Celebration deck, so that's perfect. Sir Armance here is really good if you're going green-white auras. It pumps you for enchanted creatures. Ariette in black-white. Wow, it's a third black-white rare, huh? This is kind of a funky one. You can enchant your opponent's creatures, and then they can attack you with them, so you can do kind of goofy stuff there. And then you drain them for auras each turn, so that's kind of nice. And then I've got the Goose Mother, which is just an excellent card, right? It's a big flyer you get to cast, and you make some goose, or you make some foods and draw cards. So they're kind of and then you've got Crystal Grotto here, which actually is a totally solid mana fixer, right? It ETBs to scry 1 and then can fix your mana. So we got a couple options here that I think are interesting. One thing we can do is we can just go black-white, right? We're like, hey, we have 2 Devouring Sugar Maws, which are great in black-white, and we've got this Ariette, which is going to be really cool if we have enough auras and rolls to pull it off. It's 3 mana, 2/4 at its base. You can also just drain people slowly with this. You've got this stuff making tokens. You can get out there Sugar Maw. I think this card is pretty decent. You can, like I said, play this on turn 2 and on turn 4 do this. Yeah, you are going to run out of food eventually, but it still stays in play. So if you get another roll or whatever, it can slowly untap. The second one's, whatever. But so that's one option, is playing this as black-white. I do see a black-red deck potentially. You have a couple of removal spells in here, and it's not always about what colors are the deepest or have the most cards, because you only have to get to 23 playables, right? So it doesn't matter if you scrape to 23 playables if all the cards are good. If you're picking, if you have exactly 23, or if you have 60 playables, you need to have 23 playables at the end of the day. You want to play 23 lands or 23 spells, 17 lands. I do like the 2 removal spells in black. It's not like that wild outside of that, though. Let's look back at our white again. So if we were to pair black and white together, we have this thing that makes tokens every turn to sacrifice. You got some stuff like this that makes extra tokens to sacrifice. This thing is pretty funny with the Sugar Maw, the sacrifice. We also got some good stuff that makes these things. Grasp of Fate, you don't really want to sack that if you can avoid it. This is a fine thing to sack right here. The other option too is if I go green-black, so I can go black-white. The other option I like is green-black, and you just kind of go like, you have a little bit of a food sub-theme, I guess, but you're just kind of playing stuff and a couple of removal spells. And if you go green-black, you can probably splash this Goose Mother. I would probably just splash off the Crystal Grotto, and maybe there's like a couple mana fixing cards in here, like this card right here that goes to find a land out of your deck. And the Goose Mother is very strong. So what do you think? And then maybe, if you want to splash, is there anything else in here worth splashing? I mean, this is not a great splash card, so maybe you just splash the Goose Mother, but this Goose Mother is still an excellent splash. So the big question is, do you want to go black, white, or black, green, splash, blue? And I do have these 2 red removal spells I'm keeping in mind, but I think I'll probably not end up playing them. You could always splash them if you needed to. Okay, so those are the directions I'm going. So here's what I do normally now. So I've kind of honed in on my directions of what I want to do. Now I'm going to lay out both decks, see how they look, and kind of just see what they would both look like at the end, okay? Because once again, it doesn't matter how deep you are sometimes. You just have to have enough to play. And you'll start noticing holes on your curve. So I'm going to set these aside to start, except for Ariette. And I'm going to go and build the black-white version of the deck and see what that looks like, okay? So we're just going to lay this curve out and see how it looks. Now, adventures are a little tricky on the curve. I'm gonna put these Sugar Maws at 2 because you can play them on turn 2. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm laying out my mana curve for these decks, for these this deck based on the cards I would play here. Probably not gonna play Ariad's Whisper, so I'm gonna set that one over here. Rat Out I might play as a trick to make something. Stab Wound, of course, we're gonna play that guy. This is interesting. If I go black, green, blue, I can cast Take It Back on this. I should keep that in mind. Scream Puff, you're not going to play in this version of the deck. I might play it in the black-green deck potentially. So I'm going to set it off to the side. I'm not focused on it right now. This card is okay. The Sweet Tooth Witch. This card's okay. Sewer Witch is okay as well because you make essentially a 2/2 along with your 3/4. So that's solid. The Horseman is a nice thing because you can sorcery it back. And one thing you'll notice is I'm putting anything. This is a tip for everyone out there. You want to put your spells that you're not likely to play on that turn down below because it does having them appear like I'm not always going to cast Shatter the Oath on turn 5. But I'm always going to cast Twisted Sewers on turn 5. I'm almost never going to cast Candy Grapple on turn 2. So counting it in with your 2-drops doesn't really make sense, right? It's actually it's not really a 2-drop. It's a card that costs 2, but it's not a 2-drop. There's a Stab Wound. This Sugar Rush is like, okay, I'm probably not going to end up playing it. I'm going to set that over here. I definitely want as many rolls as possible around for the Sugar Maw, so I'm going to put that here. It is kind of tricky to stack your curve with... I'm not going to play these guys. I don't think I want the Scarecrow guide. Maybe in the green deck to splash. Want as many rolls as possible for the Sugar Maws. This is also really good with the Sugar Maw if I want to. I think this card is just pretty solid when making enough rolls that this guy will tap some creatures. This card is only okay, but I do have a bunch of cool 3-drops, so I could see playing this, and it does make a roll to sacrifice. Well, I'm pretty heavy on the 3-drops here. I don't think Intangible Virtue is going to be good enough for me to make the cut, so I'm going to get that over there. I'm really choked on 3s and really low on 2s. Don't think I want to play Tale for the Ages in this deck. Grasp of Fate comes in here. Okay, here's some 2-drops. Another 3-drop, though. This card's kind of weak. Probably not going to play it. Hopeful Vigil shows up. Glass Casket shows up. And then this Army Master shows up. Okay, so this deck, the shape of this looks pretty good. This is clearly way too many cards. So let's count them up really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23. So that's the magic number. So then how many cards am I over? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually not that bad, right? I mean, I'll just cut a bunch of these 3-drops. A lot of them are pretty medium. Probably cut 1 or 2 of these spells. And that's what the deck ends up looking like. This deck looks pretty solid to me. It's missing a little bit of bomminess on the top end. But keep in mind that both of these Sugar Maws can also be cast as 4-drops. So I could probably even cut one of these 4-drops if I want to. You've got a bunch of removal spells, right? You've got you got a Grasp of Fate, 2 Stab Wounds, the Shatter to Oath, Glass Casket, Cooped Up, and Candy Grapple. So you're going to be killing a bunch of their stuff, which is really awesome. So this deck looks quite good to me. So I'm pretty happy with this, but I do want to lay out the other decks. It's important you lay out the options, and usually in deck building and a pre-release, you're going to have the time to look into it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up all the white cards here, pick up these Sugar Maws. Maybe I could see playing this in the black green version of the deck. So I'll have food to sacrifice, but it's just so hard to have a consistent source to make that happen. So I'm going to pick up the Sugar Maws and pick up Ariat here, pick up all these white cards. And then I think a lot of these black cards probably still stand. But let's take a look at how the green looks. Okay, so I know I want to splash this Goose Mother, which is probably, I don't know, put it up here. It's like up there on the curve somewhere. And I got this Crystal Grotto too to fix my mana. Probably not going to play this Toadstool Admirer. I would play this Tinglespan Lookout. Not going to play this Thunder guy. This is like make a 1/1, get a basic. It might be worth playing here. You can make a food with it as well. This card's not that great. I probably wouldn't play it. This is a 4-drop. This is like a 5-drop. Well, and I can tell you right now this is not going to work. Because if you're following at home, you know the problem. This is why you got to lay it out. There's just no 2-drops. Like, I got Up the Beanstalk, and that's it. I'm just totally out of 2s. I can play the Scarecrow Guide if I'm really feeling it. Okay, so this green deck is not going to... I can play the Goose Mother for mana. It's perfect. So this green version is just not going to work out. So we got to get rid of that right now. And then, if I want to check out one more thing, I can. I could check out this red deck. Is there any shot that's going to be better than the white version? I've got this. Maybe should I consider the 5-mana and make 2 2/2s? Probably not. I don't think there's any chance this is way better than the white version. I don't think I'm going to play enough of this stuff. So I really think it is the black-white deck. I mean, it's got a ton of removal spells. It's got a ton of removal spells. Let's just finalize this thing. A bunch of removal spells, pretty solid curve. It's got, I mean, it doesn't have like a bomb, but it's got some very high-end rares, which is really nice in these Sugar Maws. So now we just got to figure out what cards to cut. So usually what I do next, and not everyone does it this way, it's kind of something I picked up. Brian Wong, who is a phenomenal limited player, taught me to do this, and I don't know, he knows what he's doing, so I usually just trust him. Former limited resources guy. Oh, and I probably am not gonna play this Crystal Grotto with my mana with the black on the Sugar Maw plus the white to cast it. I just don't want to be drawing colorless lands early in the game, even though you can do the scry one out of it. So the next thing I do now, that I was gonna tell you about is, so now that I've laid out all the cards I want and see what I have, I go through and I pull all the cards that I think I'm not locked into playing into my hand, right? So like I'm not locked into playing this. I will lean toward playing this, but I'm not necessarily going to. I'm not necessarily going to play this, although the token is really good for the Sugar Maw. And let's see, on 4, I'm not necessarily going to play this. This card's pretty good. I'm not locked into playing it, though. I think I do want to play the 4-mana 3/1 flyer to have some evasion. I'm not necessarily going to play. I think this card's pretty good. I think I'm going to play this. Just 4-mana 2/3 make you discard a card is pretty solid. But the place I really need to cut is 3 drops, right? That's what I'm way over on. So I'm 100% going to play Ariette because she's super, super good. This makes a token to sacrifice and is good when stuff dies, so I definitely want to play that. Black-white is kind of like the bargainy deck. I definitely want to play this card because it makes the roll and then has menace. This makes a token for me to sacrifice. I don't think... I just don't think the Savor the Sleeping is really going to be worth it for me here. Like, I'll sacrifice a few rolls maybe, but I'm just not seeing enough of it, I think, to make it worth doing. I do want to play this Curse Courtier. So I'm going to cut this Savor the Sleeping. This card is kind of medium. This card, I think, is good, right? If you're behind, you can just have a draw engine. So I think that's good. I'm still way over. So I think I cut these Protective Parents. They've got Dies triggers, which is nice, but I think they're probably worse than these other cards, right? This already makes me a food token. This already makes a token. This makes a token. This makes tokens. Curse Courtier makes a curse roll token. So I think I'm going to cut these Protective Parents. A little painful, but hey, you know, when the parents go in the movie, it's always painful. The Twisted Sewerage, let's see. This is, you get a 3/4 plus a 2/2. How many other Rat Makers do I have? I have 1 Rat Maker. I can see this card not making it either. These mice are pretty medium. I definitely want to play the Hopeful Vigil. I want to play the Guard as a tapper. The Sage, I think, is good. You can key it off as a 4-drop. And I'll pull it back. And then you've got these Sugar Maws on turn 2. Okay, so then what I do, after I pull all these cards up, is I count how many cards are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 cards, and I want 23 playables. So then what you have to do at this point, and why I like pulling all the cards back in your hand, is you see your deck without any of those cards. And then you're like, okay, well, I get 4 playables out of these 8 cards. So then it's just a matter of picking and choosing what you think your deck needs based on what it's missing, which is kind of why I really like that direction. So I can tell you I definitely want at least 1 more 2-drop, and so at least 1 more 2-drop creature. So it's either the Unassuming Mage or these mice. The mice are okay, but I think I would rather have this Sage. It just makes a roll that I can sacrifice later. It's flexible, being higher on the curve if I want to. So I'm going to play the Sage, and I might not play the mice. This makes a 2/2 along with it, but I don't really have a lot of other rats. 5 mana for a 3/4. The ETB makes a 2/2. Can't block. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to want the Fell Horseman. Like, this is just a 2-for-1, right? You get to bring back a creature, and then you have a 3/3. It's not as good as the flying one from first Eldraine, but it's still pretty solid. How many enchantments do I have for this Reindeer? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This makes an enchantment for 5. 6, I guess. 7, 8, 9. 9 enchantments. I think that's going to be good enough. And that's not even counting other things that might go in here. This makes an enchantment too. I think that's going to be good enough. I'm a little choked at 4, though. It might be that I'm supposed to cut. I think I want this. I think I want the 3/1 flyer for 4. It just, even though it's a 3/1, it just gets in. If they don't have a flyer, you're just clocking them, which is really nice. I think I want that. Plus, like, I don't have anything at 5+, so having more 4-drops is probably okay. And then I only get one more card, huh? Yeah. I mean, this is such a decent card. It's like 4 mana, deal 2, and you also get a tap later on. This card can bring back. What can this card bring back? It can bring back Ariette. You get the young hero roll if you want to. It's okay. But I think this witch is not gonna make the cut. I'm gonna cut the witch. And it's just a matter of which of these 4 cards I want, unless I want to cut one of these 4-drops, which is maybe the choice. I just think this is going to be really good for me. I think I want the 2-for-1 on the Fell Horseman. Because Gravediggers are always solid. I think I want the Stingblade Assassin. I think just the 4 mana 3/1. Even if you don't get the ability off, the 4 mana 3/1 is really nice. I think this Reindeer is just going to be good at pushing me through. So I get one more of these, and I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-creature spells already. This can bring back some stuff, but I just don't want to be choked on just having this in the early game. Rat out 3 Bowls of Porridge. 3 Bowls of Porridge is 4 mana for 2 damage. I guess that's not the greatest rate ever. You do get the tapping and the life later. And all right, I think I want to cut this. I really just want to make sure I have enough tools for the Sugar Maw. So I think I am going to play this rat out, actually. Now, the rat out does give me one more rat, potentially for the Twisted Sewer Witch, but I want to be sacking the rats to the Sugar Maw a bunch of the time, I think. So I think this is right number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is 23 cards. And this is what I think what I would play. The biggest consideration I would have is I would consider cutting one of these 4-drops and either playing this Mice just for another 2-drop, or maybe this Return Triumphant. If I start playing and some of these 3-drops don't work out, I could consider playing the Protective Parents as well. I think this is what I would do. Here's my deck. I'm pretty happy with it. I wish I had like one big chunker, like a bomb or a big creature up here at 5 mana. But the Sugar Maws are going to do a pretty good imitation of that, right? And I think this deck is going to be kind of aggressive, a decent amount aggressive, which does actually, the more I think about it, the more I kind of want that mouse. Like, it's good with the mouse is good with the 2 Sugar Maws. I think I do want to play this mouse. I think my deck's probably going to be a little more aggressive than I'm giving it credit for, and it's good with the pair of Sugar Maws at making 2 things. It's good with like the Conceited Witch and stuff. So I think I'll play that, and then I'm just going to cut one of these 4s. I guess maybe it's this Reindeer. I have some ways to trigger it. I don't want to cut the Horseman. I could cut one of these 3s, but I think I want all those. All right, I guess the Reindeer is the card that's the Reindeer or the Rat out. All right, we'll cut the Rat out, I guess. And then I've got how many things I'm happy to sacrifice to the Sugar Maw. I've got its tokens, obviously. I've got the Wicked Roll off this. I've got this guy making tokens, this guy making a token, these guys making tokens, this making a token. I've got a decent amount of token making stuff, I guess. But yeah, like, this shows you that one card can really make a big difference. I think the Glass Casket is worth playing, although it's not always turned on, because they'll have something you probably want to kill at some point. But you could consider removing that. Wow, I've never thought of debate this Reindeer so much. All right, I think I'm just gonna play the Reindeer and cut the Rat out, but it's pretty close to me. Anyway, that should give you what you need to understand what's going on. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this and it was useful for your pre-release. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat comments below. And otherwise, I'll talk with you again soon. In the meantime, have fun preparing for your pre-release. You got this.